Welcome to my channel. In this video, we will be discussing about the divine feminine and awakening the sacred within. The divine feminine is a concept that transcends traditional religious doctrines, inviting us to explore the powerful force that exists within all of us. She is not a symbol of silence, renunciation, or submission. Rather, she embodies vitality, sovereignty, and an awakened connection to the divine. The divine feminine teaches us that divinity is not something external, but resides deep within each of us, waiting to be recognized and embraced. For centuries, spiritual traditions and religious institutions have often framed the feminine as something passive, associated with silence, suffering, and renunciation. These concepts have been perpetuated in various spiritual and cultural contexts, where the feminine principle is seen as something to be controlled or subdued. Women, especially those who sought to connect with their divinity, have been often portrayed as silent followers, choosing to reject the world and its pleasures in favor of spiritual purity. However, this narrative is deeply flawed. It is based on the idea that spirituality requires one to retreat from life and reject the fullness of human experience, particularly the physical body and sensuality. But the true essence of the divine feminine is not about renouncing life. It is about embracing it fully, embodying it in all its complexity and beauty. The divine feminine is not a figure that withdraws from the world. She is one who fully engages with it. She represents the embodiment of life itself, the creative force that brings life into being and nurtures it. She is not a passive observer, but an active participant in the divine drama of existence. As a high priestess of the sacred, the divine feminine awakens us to the power of our own bodies, our emotions, and our desires. She does not shy away from sensuality or sexuality. Instead, she celebrates the human experience in all its expressions. The divine feminine is about owning one's sovereignty, living fully, and connecting with the sacred in every moment of life. She teaches us that our bodies are not separate from the divine. They are an essential part of our spiritual journey. One of the most significant aspects of the divine feminine's journey has been her silencing. Throughout history, patriarchal systems of power have sought to suppress the feminine voice, because a woman who realizes her divinity cannot be easily controlled. When a woman connects with the sacred within herself, she becomes a powerful force, one that challenges the structures of power that seek to dominate and suppress. In many spiritual traditions, the feminine voice has been either muted or reduced to one of submission. Religious institutions, often fearing the feminine's power, have sought to control it, branding it as dangerous or unruly. This silencing of the feminine has led to a distorted view of spirituality, one that values submission and suffering over strength, empowerment, and self-realization. At the heart of the divine feminine's teachings is the profound truth that the sacred is not something outside of us. It is something within us. Rather than seeking divinity in distant heavens or through external rituals, the divine feminine invites us to look inward, to awaken the divine that already resides within our own being. This inward journey is not about rejecting the world, but about recognizing the sacredness in every moment and every experience. For too long, religious institutions have created systems that make us feel ashamed of our bodies, our desires, and our natural instincts. Sensuality has been branded as sinful, and the human body has been viewed as something to be controlled or discarded in the pursuit of spiritual purity. However, the divine feminine challenges these misconceptions. She teaches us that our sensuality is not sinful. It is a sacred expression of our connection to the divine. The body is not impure, but a vessel through which the divine flows into the world. The divine feminine does not reject life. She awakens it. She encourages us to embrace the fullness of our human experience, to honor our emotions, our desires, and our physical existence as sacred. She teaches us that to live fully is to connect with the divine in every aspect of life. From the mundane to the extraordinary, every moment holds the potential for awakening the sacred within us. Rather than turning away from life, the divine feminine calls us to lean into it. She invites us to embrace our sensuality, our creativity, and our emotions as powerful tools for spiritual growth. By recognizing the sacred in all that we do, we awaken to a higher level of consciousness and become more deeply connected to the divine. The divine feminine is not a symbol of renunciation or silence, but one of empowerment, sovereignty, and full-bodied engagement with life. She teaches us to look inward and recognize the divinity within ourselves. She shows us that the sacred is not separate from us, but a part of who we are. Through her teachings, we are reminded that to embrace life in its fullness, to honor our bodies, desires, and emotions, is to awaken to our true divine nature. In reclaiming the power of the divine feminine, we open ourselves to a new way of being. We step into our sovereignty, our creativity, and our sacred connection to the divine. By awakening to the divine feminine within, we awaken life itself. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and share it. Subscribe to my channel for more content on relationships and family, social issues and empowerment, mental health and personal growth, and a variety of other topics.